Hey, Pete. Dills Victoria here. Hope all is well. Host of What's Your Brand Story podcast. I went ahead and just jazzed up the background a little bit, like you can see. Look at that picture. Oh my God, look at that. So, thank you all for tuning in again. This is on YouTube Live. During the conversation, I'm going to go ahead and just like tag a couple people to join us and so on and so forth. When it comes to the podcast, I'm trying out some stuff. Normally it's on Spotify. It's still going to be on Spotify, but also on YouTube. So we're live streaming at the moment. So I have an amazing special guest, and her name is Jatorra Commodore. She is a personal development coach as well, personal development wellness coach, as well as meditation and yoga strategist, instructor.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yes.
And so thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate you. And
Thank
so tell
you.
everyone what's your name, who you are, and what is your brand story.
Yeah, sure. So first, thank you so much for having me on. I'm so excited to be here and you giving this platform for people like me to share their story. And so my name, Jatorra Commodore. I'm a former elementary school teacher of 20 years and transitioned into being a professional. I do that. Personal development. It's a lot of words sometimes. Personal development and wellness coach. And I do a lot of that through meditation and yoga instructing. I'm a stress management practitioner, and I feel like in order to really tell my story, I have to go back. Not too far.
Let's go back.
It's not that far, but it feels far now. So back to 2018, when I want to say at the peak of my teaching career. I was teaching for 18 years. At that point, I felt like I could teach with my eyes closed. Not that I would in front of kids, but meaning that I felt really comfortable in my position. But there was one thing that was really, really taking a hold on me, and that was chronic stress. And it was work-related stress. We have everyday stressors. Stress is always going to be around, but this was work-related stress, and chronic stress is different than just stress. So this was stress that was compounding from years and years and years that I wasn't addressing, that I was just expending myself to the point of burnout, essentially. And I got to this point in my career where I was like, I don't know if I could do this anymore. Like, I love the kids, but I really started planning my exit strategy. And it was hard for me because I was I was the first to go to college in my family. It was, you go to college, you get married, you have the kids, and I was on this trajectory, and I was like, teaching was going to be my career, which I've changed several times. First was supposed to be psychology, but
try in the club, girl. Try in the club. I've been this, that, next, and the third. So it's okay. You know what that is?
And now see, right?
Life. That's entrepreneur life.
Right, exactly. And so I was gonna be a teacher for the rest of my life and collect my pension at the end. That's how I saw it. But something in my spirit started to move me, and I started to hear those whispers from the universe that started getting louder and louder. And it became 2018, it became a brick over my head. Like, this may not be, and so I just, as I was figuring out my exit strategy, it was really hard as well because of financial reasons. Yeah. I was the breadwinner in my family. I was really attached to this thing about money because of how I grew up. And so I just wasn't sure of what I was going to do. And so I stayed. And then 2020 hits, and you know what happens? The pandemic comes, and now it's like, wow, this
Mhm.
is eye opening, and I really had to like continue to think about what where this was going to go, because I didn't know how teaching was going to end up after,
Yeah.
that with us being home and everything. And so I really, in that time, really sat and thought about what I wanted to do. And
Mhm.
I thought about how back in 2018, how I had to be the support system for myself, because there
Mhm.
was no help and no support for me, from my job, from my boss, from my union, even. There was no help and support, um, with the wellness, or with students, or with just things um, in education overall. And those who are educators really understand what I mean, as far as the support that teachers are given. And we work ourselves and work ourselves and work ourselves till the point
Can't
of,
work yourself no more, and then you
yeah,
get
to,
burnt out.
yeah, to where
I
I, yeah. Um, and so I thought about all the tools and the strategies that I had learned, and one of them being meditation. I like to tell people that meditation saved my life. It's
mm,
it's odd but true, because that was the one thing in the morning that I did every single day that helped me get through another day, helped me survive in the classroom, helped me, work on my own wellness and my own self-care. And so I thought about that, and I said, I always love helping people. And
mhm.
so how can I bring that to a business? Because also during the pandemic, you hear a lot of more people saying, I'm going to start working from home more. Like,
Yeah.
they're starting to create their own businesses. And I started learning and, delving into that. And so went I wasn't going back to college, because I wasn't going to pay a whole nother too
Student
big.
loan for what?
I still have student loans, so that
Mhm.
wasn't going to happen. But I went and got my life coaching certification. I then got my meditation certification, and then I just learned how to help others and be their support when going through work related stress, stress management, helping them to work on just creating that self care or soul care and peace and serenity in our lives that so many of us gotten away from,
Mhm.
because we work so hard, especially us who are overachievers or high performing, people. And so
Stop talking to
sometimes,
me. Stop. You don't know me. Don't be talking about me like Jatorra.
yeah, and so I just figured that was the start of my journey into coaching. And I have the backstory as to my why, and that's what led me, because it was really hard to figure it out. I'm like, I'm really going to start all over. And
Yeah.
I started, actually, when 2020 hit. So I want to say I was planning my exit strategy in 2018, and just learning and figuring out things. But by 2020, I left teaching, and I didn't look back. And so I still work with kids. I do mindfulness, meditation, yoga. I work with kids in different capacity, but I feel now like I'm making an impact. I feel like I am doing what I'm called to do. I also work with adults, so I actually stepped away from working with kids for a while,
Oh
and
yeah.
so I started working with adults. And then in this last couple of years, I started bringing back like working with kids. And because I feel like it does start young, like helping
Mhm.
them with with different things in their lives. And one of the things that I will say is that education has taken a lot of those. Some people have a problem with the word social emotional learning, but it is that it's their social and emotional development. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
that has been taken out of schools.
It has.
And so we're seeing that a lot of children need help with that,
Mm-hmm.
um, help with coping, helping with regulation, just different things. But that's how I got into this a year or two ago, 2 years now. I got my yoga certification to add on. So I'm just kind of like slowly adding on little bits and pieces
Good.
to my business. This year, I'm actually going to come out with a product line that is an extension of what I do. It's going to be called Raise Your Vibe Collective,
Okay.
and that's just all about uplifting and really just basically raising our vibe, raising our vibration, raising our energy, because a lot of us sit in some stuff that's heavy and we don't get to work through that stuff. And I think that's really important. So,
You ain't never lied about that sitting and stuff, and I'm yeah, I sit in stuff all the time because I feel like sitting in it and not pushing it down or compartmentalizing. I think it's healthy to do that because that's the best way for you to go through your healing process.
right,
Mhm.
exactly. And that's the thing. And, you know, I tell people this all the time, because if they do follow me, I'm very inspirational. I do
Mhm.
talk a lot about um mindset and positive thinking, but it's not
Mhm.
about the term positive toxic positivity. It's not about that. It's about, how do we sit with this? How do we check in? And
Mhm.
instead of automatically reacting, how do we work through this? We're going to feel the feelings, but they're temporary. We have to understand that, and we can work through that stuff. And what are some tools and things that we can use to help move that and shift that energy? Because there can be, um, really a lot of goodness and greatness on the other side. So, and a lot of us have been through a lot. We don't think about it. Every time we come against something, we think, "Oh my God, this is the thing. This is the thing that's going to break me." But when you think
Right.
about how you've actually come through, like 99.9% of the time, or basically you're still here. You're doing it, and you're getting through that, next step or milestone, whether it's big or small or whatever it might be.
Right.
So yeah, I'll get off my soapbox a little bit because I
It's
started.
all good. It's about you, sis. It's about you. So, as far as like your brand story, how do you promote your brand story? In what way do you promote your brand story on social media, or even if you're like, meeting with a potential client for the first time, or meeting with, like, if you're at networking events or you're looking to collaborate or partner with someone or organizations, like, what is your brand story that you give them?
Yeah. So I do often tell them a bit about my background. It's no secret. I also, and this is the part that I didn't say, like, I was dealing with depression and anxiety at that
Mhm.
point in my career, and I didn't realize it. I didn't I felt like it was one of those things where, oh, you're not working hard enough. You're not pushing. There's something you're not doing right. And but I was essentially crying every day, crying every day going into work. I was getting in the shower and I was crying because
Mhm.
it was like, Mommy, don't take me back to that place. I don't want to go, type of thing. But I, I I basically tried to tell the story, and it all depends on the platform. I
Right.
haven't been really. I will be honest. When I first started, I told my story a lot,
Mhm.
and as of lately, I haven't as much.
Mhm.
But I feel as though, like, I'll say on social media platforms, I'll say that when I'm presenting or when I'm, working with a client, a lot of times they'll know some of my background, or from on my website, have a little bit about my story. Um, but I pretty much, I feel as though I need to lead with that a
Yeah.
bit more, or just tell it a little more here and there, because there are certain parts that will resonate with different people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so yeah, that's what I try to do. I have a book that I've been writing for the past, like, it's been like 3 years now. Out books in 90 days. I
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. My second book took me 6 years. It
okay.
did. It
Well,
was
and
6 years.
I really feel like there's a reason why it's sitting. Like,
Yes.
and I'm like adding here and there, or I'm
Mhm.
changing. Like, there's a reason why I didn't put it out when I wanted to. But I bring up the book only because it has a lot of my story in it.
Absolutely, as
Like,
it
it's a
should.
lot more. And so when it does come out, I feel like that's another way that I could connect with people and
Absolutely,
potential clients, or whoever that might be.
for sure. Like, what is your most profound transformational experience or story that you have?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Thank you.
Um, wow. I feel like I've had so many different moments, but um I do, I guess one of the ones that I can really think of is really just being in this state of during that year that I was having a really tough time in my career, really just getting to a point where I took back my life. I feel
Mhm.
as though I was taking back my life, and I wasn't um doing and going about my day for everyone else the way they expected it to be.
Yep.
I expected it to be to me a lot more. Um, as far as work, I was, like I said, I was getting up in the morning and I had a morning ritual. I was
Mhm.
doing that every day. I, during my lunch breaks, I wasn't working during my lunch breaks. I, I was taking that time for me. I was eating. There were days I was taking a walk.
Mhm.
Um, there were days that I would listen to motivational speakers. And there's actually, I remember this vividly. I was taking a walk during my lunch break and I was listening to a Les Brown, um, one of his motivational speeches. And one of the things he was talking about was, and I'll just say this one sentence that he said, because that was like
A light
my
bulb, right?
from me, and that was like, yes.
Mhm.
I feel like I almost screamed that out loud. But he said, why do we prefer um known hells over unknown heavens?
Wow.
And it was basically like, why do we stay in these comfortable, what we think is comfortable because we know it,
Mhm.
but it's hell. At the end of the day, it feels like it's not a good environment for you.
Yeah.
And we think about that on different fronts, not just work, relationships. I've been in those type of
Mhm.
relationships.
Mhm.
Oh, I know the person. Oh, but then you're scared to take that leap into the unknown. And on the
Mhm.
other side could be that, and I might have been one of those pivotal things for me, but I really started setting more boundaries for myself
Mhm.
around work. Um, and yeah, and basically just taking back my life. I feel like that was one of the pivotal years for me that I really just started doing some of that transformative stuff and for myself,
Yeah,
originally. Yeah. Yeah.
awesome. So when it comes to like having like a profound transformational story, would you say that you would add something like that to like your brand marketing to share so people can actually get a sense of, okay, well, she's been through this and she came over it and now she's able to help other people in that aspect.
Oh, yeah. Oh, certainly. I think that's so important
Mhm.
because in um in creating your own business or whatever it might be for yourself, and then sharing it out with others,
Mhm.
a lot of people are looking for authenticity. A lot of people
Mhm.
are looking for someone that they can connect to. And sometimes your story could be just it. I know
Absolutely.
that's helped me. Like, I've connected with people because of their story. And so when you find some commonalities with people, that really kind of brings you, into their space. And
Yep.
so I think that's really important to make
Mhm.
sure that you're sharing your why, and not with everyone it may connect or not, but
Mhm.
you'll find your people
Right.
because of that. But it's really important to show up and be authentic in who you are, and I think the why is a big part of that, and sharing that. So yeah.
Absolutely. And for me, that's why I said in the beginning before we went live that I don't edit my podcast. Like, I don't do none of that because I like to show authenticity, transparency, realness, honesty, and stuff like that. Not
Right.
to knock anyone who likes to edit. I just don't feel like it's necessary. And that's why I said too, you can cuss, you can say fuck, bitch, whatever on the podcast. I don't care. Because that's the way that you express
That, yeah.
know how I express myself in the most rawest way at times. So for me, it's important to show that with just like so much fake stuff going on and this and that, da, 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 da. So it's very easy to get caught up in that. So for me, like doing it this way, I feel
Right.
it's more authentic and people can relate to it.
Relate to it.
Right.
Exactly. It feels like they are, you know, in your living room, just kind
Yeah.
of,
Mhm.
chatting it up and just, hanging. And of course, with my clients, and there's a certain relationship that I have with them and
Mhm.
with people, but at the same time, I do want people to know that I'm this real person who has gone through struggles. Like, I don't mind sharing that story with people because I don't want to look like, oh, I'm this, sitting on my perch with this degree, or, and that's not to knock anyone who does. I'm not saying that,
Right.
but
Right.
I'm just making the connection as to people who do share their brand story, how much
Mhm.
that is, helpful. And,
Yeah.
so
And that's why I do what I do when it comes to helping people turn their profound experiences that they've had into their brand story and brand marketing because it does
right,
up a different tone and it shows that you're relatable to the client that you are trying to attract, the ideal client you're working on attracting, because the more that they know about you, you're inviting them into your world and your space. They
right,
notice you being vulnerable. You're not afraid to share like the stuff that happened to you, and it may be something that they may be experiencing or have happened to them, and they're still trying to figure out how to overcome it. And you might have the solution, formula, whatever the case may be. So it's
hmm,
important to always share your story, parts of your story, and that's what I do with my clients. I'm like, okay, like let me know what sets you apart from everyone else that does what you do. What are those profound moments that you've experienced that you're proud of sharing, that you've
right,
overcome, that when you share it, it's shared in the most powerful way to help.
right,
Absolutely.
exactly.
So let
Yeah.
me ask you, what sets you apart from everyone else that does what you do in your industry?
I'm sorry, say that again. I
What
missed the first part.
what sets you apart from everyone else that does what you do?
So that's tricky. I'm gonna be honest.
Mhm.
I'm gonna be authentic here. Um, Sometimes I ask myself that. Like I'm new. Compared to some people who've been doing this for over 5, 6 years, I'm new to this realm, and
Yeah.
so like business. I've done little like side hustles, the Mary Kay and the Ava. Like I've done those types of things that back in the day.
Yvonne, Mary Kay, like,
I've almost done them all. I've done some things like that as far as like business, and I feel like in a lot of ways that may have helped, but I am newer to this,
Mhm.
and so as I am learning and I'm shaping my business and what I want it to look like and the message that I want to send, I'm asking myself this all the time. What does, and actually from many coaches that I've had, they've
Yeah.
asked the same thing. That's one of the questions they always ask is what sets you apart from everybody else out there? And some days I feel like I'm just different in my, I don't want
Hey,
to say,
Special Effects Ashley, how you doing? Thank you so much for joining. Um, okay, so may I offer you something real quick? We'll do like a nice brainstorming, brain
sure,
cells.
sure. I love that.
Thank you. So here's the thing when it comes to what sets you apart from everyone else, what is it that you can do that you offer your clients that you are a master at, that you can do blindfolded with your hands tied behind your back? If they come up to you and say, well, Jatara, I'm feeling such and such a way. Can you help me with this? Like, what is that thing that you
Mhm.
have that you have perfected over time when it comes to meditation, yoga, personal development, wellness, all that stuff? What is that specific thing?
Right. So I think one of the things is really, I have this way of connecting with my clients.
Mhm.
And I just feel like that's really important. I know when I choose people to work with, I'm
Mhm.
really looking at that type of like connection. I am an empathetic soul.
Mhm.
I always feel like I feel people's
Right.
energy, and I feel like I can feel something is weighing heavy or something isn't right. But if I had to choose one of the tools, I feel like the meditation part of what
Mhm.
I've learned and how much it's helped me.
Mhm.
I feel like I can help people adapt it into their lives. It
Mhm.
doesn't have to look the same for everyone.
Mhm.
And a lot of people are hesitant on meditation for many different reasons. There's things that they may not know about it, but there's a lot about meditation and different modalities of it that people can
Mhm.
use and utilize in just minutes a day. And I just feel like, depending on the situation, I
Mhm.
do a lot of times I do um move with that a little bit,
Mhm.
as far as something they could do when they're not with me also, some a strategy or a tool that they can use, and I mainly work with beginners on this,
Mhm.
people who are either reluctant or they'll say to me, because sometimes I'll tell them about it and I'll say, well, I can't meditate, I can't do that, and so I try to teach them what's a good way, how to start, ease into it, different things like that.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know. That's what comes to mind. I
Okay.
feel like that's two of the things that I really feel like I'm this person that you could just kind of connect with. I'm an everyday person. I'm just, but I'm here to help. I am here to serve. And so, yeah.
Okay. So you're empathetic and you're easy to work with and easy to talk to. You have different forms of strategies of meditation that can be utilized by everyone that you work
Mhm,
with, and you're
mhm.
warm and you're inviting. So those are things that you can use to set you apart from everyone else that does what you do.
Yeah.
When it comes to meditation, like what are the different types of meditation that's very simple and easy that someone can do on a daily basis that doesn't take too much effort or time or whatever the case may be that you were able to kind of like implement within your client's daily routine?
Yeah. So basically, I tell a lot of people, especially people who haven't meditated before, that
Mm-hmm.
first we're going to dispel the idea that you're doing something wrong in your meditation. Um,
Mm-hmm.
just sitting down and showing up for yourself for however many minutes that you decide. It doesn't have to be 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, for you to feel like you're
Mm-hmm.
doing something. But one of the most important things that I tell people is um, the consistency is
Mm-hmm.
the key. So I could be meditating for 30 minutes, maybe one day out the week, but
Mm-hmm.
maybe you're meditating for 5 minutes every day
Mm-hmm.
throughout the week. The consistency that you build up is more important. And I also tell people who are new to it to, if you're not feeling comfortable, start with a minute. The
Mm-hmm.
following week, go to 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Following week, go to 3 minutes. And utilize whatever you might need for your background. So for some people, they need it completely silent. For some people, they need some music to help them. For some
Mm-hmm.
people, they need a guided voice to kind of help them through. So
Right.
really creating your own practice that
Mm-hmm.
feels good to you. The most
Right.
important thing is just giving yourself a moment of
Mm-hmm.
quiet and silence, and do not worry about your thoughts, because people feel like they're supposed to totally shut their mind off. If I
Yep.
were to give them like 5 tips that there are some common misconceptions about
Yes.
meditation, and kind of have them just start there. So start off small, um, consistency over quality, right? Um, you know, creating the space that feel comfortable to you, because if you don't feel comfortable, it's not going to show up. Although as you continue the practice, there will be some discomfort. um, there are days I meditate and there is still some discomfort, because you
Mm-hmm.
start to feel different things as you're meditating. And then don't worry about stopping your thoughts. That's not what meditation is.
Mm-hmm.
Meditation is about like quieting that voice.
Yeah.
So the thought comes up, we're watching it float by. Or I
Yeah.
like to say, notice it, be aware, but don't sit and have a cup of tea with it, because that's when the next thought and the next thought and the next thought, right? But let's say a thought comes in, you notice it, you're aware of it, you bring your attention back to your breath,
Mm-hmm.
and you're doing some breaths, and then maybe another thought might come in, and you notice that time in between the thought and the other thought, that you
Mm-hmm.
just kind of like brought your attention back to your breath, that's
Mm-hmm.
your moment of quiet and silence and peace. And it might only last a millisecond at first,
Right.
but it's called a meditation practice for a reason, because you
Mm-hmm.
need to daily, consistently practice being in it. So, those are some of the things that I would tell people who are starting out with
That's some
it.
good tips.
Yeah, thank
So
you.
you're welcome. So do you have any special offers or anything that you're doing for, Women's Month is around the corner. So do you have any special offers or anything that you're doing, programs, one-on-one coaching? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, so I'm always doing one-to-one coaching,
Hmm.
and anyone can reach out to me or go to my calendar and set up a free, I call it a powerhouse session, where we just kind of
Oh.
like sit and and just chat. It's informal, and come up with, or it's really your time, so whatever you're interested in. I'm always doing one-to-ones.
Hmm.
um, I do a lot more with group coaching, because I've
Hmm.
been doing some in person stuff, as far as like yoga and things like that. But then coaching around goal setting and personal development, self care. I like to call it soul care a lot. Um, and those different practices that will help you with stress management, pretty much. My that group I don't have for March, but I do have a meditation circle that I will be helping to lead for
Hmm.
another company.
Hmm.
And so I can like invite people to come. So that will be happening this month. And I'm working on a planner,
Hmm.
of a yearly planner, for just helping with tracking self-care and self-care habits, whatever your goals are. Could be business, personal. But I'm doing that with another coach, and we're going to be creating a group together to help people through the planner, and coming up with some goals and things like that. So I'm doing different things in different areas, but I love all of the alignment that has been
Hmm.
there for me. If it is in this, realm of the personal development and wellness, um, I love doing it. I'm just at that point. So yeah, that's some of the things that I'm doing. I'm really diving. One of the reasons I don't have a lot of programs that are as active is, I don't want to say a lot of programs, because I have two things that are pretty active. I can't say that it's not.
Hmm.
Um, I'm really diving into the product line
Gotcha.
for a lot. So that will be up and out in the next couple of months, and kind of
Awesome.
sharing that. And I share a bit of my story. I've been trying to do a lot of that with this brand. Like, it's not just a physical products brand, but there's a story behind it. There's a reason behind it. There's things, and a lot of the stories I tell are not just like from the past, but it's like things that are happening to me right now. Like, things that we go through on a day-to-day basis. Um,
Right.
and just kind of relate that to raising our vibe, and helping, um, you know.
Well, make sure that you schedule your 30-minute complimentary session with me so I can help you.
Woo, yay. I would love to.
Absolutely, absolutely. I offer 30-minute, free branding strategy sessions to help you with the personal story and how to turn it into brand marketing for anything, either product, service, or even like getting on a podcast and things like that. So those are the things that I do. So definitely make sure that you
Perfect.
mm, put yourself down in my calendar so I can help you.
Yes, I certainly will. Thank you.
Absolutely. So thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you. I celebrate you, giving you your flowers, and make sure that you're consistently doing. Hey, Jessica Smith. Thank you so much for joining us. Yeah, just want to celebrate you and thank you so much for all that you do and all the things. Her website is right there, commodorecoaching.com, which is her last name, Jatorra's last name. And definitely make sure you connect with Jatara. She offers, free consultations, and make sure that you get your meditation on with this one because she is going full force with it, the yoga, the meditation, the personal development, wellness, like all of the things. And one last question before we jump off. What is the most memorable compliment or review a client has given you?
Oh, that's a good one.
Thank you.
You ask such profound questions. I love it. Because it's like, what's the one? And I'm like, let me see. Hmm. I don't know if this is the most memorable, but
Mhm.
I will just say it's the most recent memorable memorable one for me. Um, so I basically had a client who was trying to work with me for like a year. She was
Mhm.
constantly telling me, "I'm coming to your yoga class. I'm gonna come," and it was, you know, every week it was like, I can't come this week because of this, and I can't come this week because of this, and I can't. And so I kept, you know, I didn't want to, I wanted to make sure she felt comfortable when she was ready. So I was acknowledging, giving her a space. We're here when you're ready, you know. And so, and this was like last year. And so
Mhm.
this year, she finally was very close to making it. So she um made it. So one week she said she was going to come, and then something came up. She stayed late at work, didn't come. Following week she came, but she was running late,
Mhm.
and I told her, and she sent me a message. I told her, come anyway.
Mhm.
Finally made it to the class. This was like last month.
Mhm.
And after the class, she texted me immediately after and was
Mhm.
like, you know, she said thank you in the class, but she texted me immediately after and was like, thank you so much. I really needed that. I didn't realize how much I really needed that. And just getting there this once is just going to make it so much easier for me to come back week after week. And so I guess one of the reasons that stuck with me is because I didn't push. I told her I was here for her. She took the time she needed. And it just felt good that when she did finally come, she
Mhm.
noticed the difference that it could make in her life. And just to get that compliment and know that, you know, oh, you know, just starting is all I need. And that's in a lot of cases. Even I have times where it's like it's a struggle to get the motivation, but when you start, when you take that one step, it's easy to get to the next step and the next step and the next step. So that was very, like, I feel like that's one of those that is going to really stick with me.
Absolutely.
Um
Thank you so much for joining us, Cheyenne. Appreciate you.
yeah,
That's that's good stuff right there.
thank
For
you.
me, I think the one comment, or yeah, it was a comment that my client said to me, was that the reason why she wanted to work with me is because I completely understand who she is. And there are certain conversations that she can have with me that she can't have with other people, because they look at her like she'll have eight heads. And the fact that she could just explain something to me, not even in detail, she don't even have to go like talk about it too much, because I get it. And I
Right.
finish her sentences and I can tell her exactly what's going to happen, what's going to take place, and so on and so forth. And the fact that I'm exceptionally intuitive and I get all the downloads and everything, that I can actually help my clients in a different way. And the other thing is, with me, when it comes to my clients, I know exactly when they're feeling out of sorts,
Mhm.
they're happy, when they don't want to do what they want to do, like all of those things. So that's why I had asked you that question, because nine times out
Yeah.
of 10, we have to pay attention to what our clients are feeling. And even when I'm creating content for my clients, I always tell them, how does this feel to you? I don't ask them what they think. I want to know how they feel.
Heal. Yes. Yes.
Know how they feel.
I
For
love
sure.
that. Yep.
Absolutely. I
For
feel like
sure.
it's important that you do that. And I
Yeah.
my clients all the time, like I'll follow up with them, even if it's just to say, hey, how's your day going? Um, what's going on with you? Like today, for instance, the ethers were just like all over the place because I was feeling extremely exhausted and sleepy, and I had a good night's sleep. But then the Schumann Renaissance is acting up. The coronal mass ejection is acting up. So then, like for me, as a very intuitive empath, like I started feeling it. And so I know my client yesterday was going through something. So I called her right away and I said, let me explain something to you. It's not you. There's nothing physical going on. There's all this spiritual shit that's going on right now.
Right.
So it made her feel a little better to know that she was like, wow, thank you so much for just calling me to check up on me. I'm like, yeah. And
Yeah.
so that's why I was asking you too, what sets you apart from everyone else that you do? Like what is that specific compassionate, loving thing that you do for your clients well they will not get anywhere else. So
Yeah.
I want you to think about that, to think about what is that that I offer that's
Sure.
so
Yeah.
special and so unique and loving
Mm-hmm.
and empathetic that I can offer my clients, because that will keep them coming to you, referring other people to you, and so on and so forth. So that's why I always ask my guests that question, like,
Exactly.
that's your part from everyone else. Even when
Yeah.
I'm like personal storytelling resumes, I always put that on the resume, like what sets me apart. Because
Yeah.
people want to know who you are on such a deep level. They want to know that you're a great asset, that you come from heart and you're authentic, and so on and so forth. So I feel like those things are so important as well.
Right. That's so true. I
Hmm.
love that.
So the
Yeah.
next time I talk to you, I'm gonna be like, "What sets you apart?" You're gonna be like,
I'm gonna, I'm gonna sit tonight. I'm gonna journal about that. What set me apart?
it's so important. So, but
Yeah,
thank you so much
you
for
are absolutely, yeah, you're absolutely right. Like I told you, I've been asked that so many times, and I feel like every time it's like it perplexes me. Sometimes I'm like, I'm
mm-hmm.
not 100% sure because I feel like a lot of people. There's so many coaches out here. There's a lot of people doing what I'm doing. So
Yeah. It's
but
just
it
getting
is
back
so
to your
important, right? And why would people choose me over someone?
exactly,
Someone else.
exactly.
Yeah,
What is it that you offer that really, really makes them feel like they're having such an amazing, powerful experience with you that
yeah.
they want to tell someone else?
Right. So
What
true.
what you can also do too is that you can actually ask your clients, what sets me apart from everyone else, and what do you experience
Mm,
when you're with me? And then you can utilize
yeah.
as a way of implementing that into your marketing when you're branding yourself. Like this is
Right.
what sets me apart from
Yep.
other people that does what I do. So I think maybe asking your clients like, hey, I have a question for you. What kind of experience do you have with me, and what do you think sets me apart from everyone else that does what I do as, your yoga instructor, your personal development, wellness coach? Like, what is
Right.
it that I offer you? What do I give you that stands out, that gives you a lasting impression?
Yeah. I love that.
Ask them and see what is
Yeah.
it they tell you.
Yeah. I definitely will do that. I
Hey,
love that. Thank you
absolutely.
for that tip. I think that's a good way to do it too, because I could be so in my head
Yes.
when I could just ask, the people who do deal with me, why do you either keep coming back, or why did you choose me, or, that kind
Yeah.
of thing. So,
Yeah.
yeah, perfect.
You could just tell them, like, ask them, like, why did you feel compelled? What was it about me that wanted
Yeah,
to connect with me on that level? And
right.
they'll
Yeah,
tell you that that's what you can just put into the marketing or the branding when you're telling your story.
right.
But
Yeah.
thank you, and Cheyenne said fire. So, is there a
Yes.
question that anyone wants to ask Jatara when it comes to personal development, wellness, meditation, yoga? Is any questions you guys want to ask her? I have the floor open for anyone to ask questions. If you need to ask me any questions, you can ask me a question as well. So I'll give them a couple minutes. And this is Jatara's website, CommodoreCoaching.com. You can connect with her, follow her on all social media platforms. What is your social media? Your link?
So my social media is just my full name, Jatorra Commodore.
Got
Um,
you.
my social media for now. Yeah.
And on Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah, Instagram and Facebook. Um, I'll say those are the two main ones. The other ones I'm not on as much, and building, will be
What?
building.
You're not on TikTok yet?
I'm on TikTok, but I'm not on TikTok.
I
So
got
I
you.
And TikTok is just my name, and this was like when I was first starting out. So it's like 2 videos of me on there doing the little point dance thing, or and then it was like, I don't know if I could, I don't know if I could show up like this all the time. And so I like kind of strayed away from that because I also love to write and tell stories. And
Mhm.
so that was why Instagram and Facebook was like just a little bit better
Got you.
for me, for my like voice at the time. But I'm
Mhm.
gonna be getting over there because I see where it's at.
Thank you, Jessica, for tuning in. I appreciate you. We're about to hop off as well. How do you stay focused on day to day basis on a day to day basis, business and personal?
Oh, great question. Did you
Great
want
question.
to answer that?
Dillis, how do
Sorry.
I stay focused? I listen to music. Like I play a lot of like Caribbean music. My mom is from Belize, my dad's from Haiti, so I'm a Caribbean girl. And so I stay focused listening to soca, compa, and I like to like move my body around. And the other thing I do too, on a daily basis, or at least I try to, is I do a lot of stretching, a lot of yoga stretching and different things like that. And but for the most part, it's me playing music on my phone when I'm working on a day-to-day basis, and it really keeps me focused and energized. And it also creates a level of high frequency and high vibration, so that I'm not in my head and I'm not in a negative space. So definitely, music does that for me. And you, Jatara?
Yeah. I totally resonate with you on the music thing. Because when I do get started and I get in the zone, I'm definitely, the music helps keep me in that zone. And I try not to get distracted.
Yeah.
Um, but one of the things that I do to try and make sure that I'm getting something done in my day is, I'm either creating a list of what I call the big 3. So, what are my
Mhm.
3 non-negotiables for the day, whether it's business or personal, and you can even do one thing. So, before I lay my head to bed tonight, what is
Mhm.
this um, one thing overall, or either one thing business related and one thing personal related, because I do find myself in my head a lot and in overload, and sometimes I need to
Mhm.
scale it down.
Mhm.
So there are times I'll do like what they call brain dump and everything comes out, but then
Right.
I try to scale that down and just do things in smaller increments and in bite-sized pieces, whether you choose the one thing or you choose to give yourself a time. So I'm
Yeah.
going to work on my personal stuff for 30 minutes. Once that, and I set a timer. Timer goes off, I'm done. And I congratulate myself. I did 30 minutes today of whatever that might have been. Um,
Right.
and so, yes, I do definitely feel like, and then once you are in the zone, music, putting your phone to the side, because I will
Mhm.
go down a rabbit hole in a minute. I have to, yeah, I have to move my phone away from me and really just
Yeah.
blinders blinders on. But Delish, you also talked about like stretching and doing other things. Like if
Yeah.
you do some self-care stuff for
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
before you get into business stuff or
Yeah.
personal stuff, right? Do
Mhm.
some self-care stuff for you. You've like opened up your mind, your body, your soul, and you will start to feel more focused. So a lot of times in the morning, I'll do my morning routines, and
Mhm.
I won't get up and be like, "Oh, what's the first thing I have to do in my business today?" It'll be me working on those things personal for
Mhm.
myself, personal development wise, so to
Mhm.
and filling up my mind, body, and soul before getting into like household stuff or business stuff. So
Yeah. I wake up in the morning and I give gratitude to God of my own understanding for waking me up. And I
yeah,
have my cup of tea with
yeah.
some echinacea elderberry honey.
Ooh, yeah, I love that.
Yeah, get dressed and put my makeup on, do my hair while I'm shaking my ass to music in the bathroom. Yeah, that's what I do when I wake up in the morning. I
Yeah.
do check social media, of course, for sure, because I like to put like affirmational post or motivational post for anyone who may be going to like having a hard day or whatever.
Right.
I don't get up at the same time every day out of bed. I give myself an opportunity just to rest and be still,
Yep.
and I do it like that. And then I pick up my outfit for the day. Either it's going to be a t-shirt or a tank top with some leggings, or I don't know, whatever the hell I feel like it. Yes, I'm heavy on self care these days. Yeah, you have to be heavy on self care
Yes.
these days because us
Hmm.
as business owners, entrepreneurs, as many of my beautiful viewers over here are, definitely self care so important. I used to be a person that would go 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 go. I am from New York, and you know that hustle and bustle of New York City.
New York. Yes.
So yeah, I had to learn when I moved to Savannah in 2017. I found myself walking real fast down the street. I'm like, bitch, slow down. You in Savannah? You don't belong in New York no more.
Yeah.
I had to teach myself to like just kind of like relax. So yeah. But that's
Yeah.
pretty much. But thank you again, Jatara. I appreciate you. Thank you,
Thank you
everyone,
for
for
having me.
tuning in. I appreciate y'all as well. It is every Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's open to all entrepreneurs who want to come on and share their brand story, what that's like, share how they started, and so on and so forth. And yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
So again, Dils Victoria, host of What's Your Brand Story podcast. Thank you so much again, Jatara. And we will talk to you guys soon.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.